from an art director's perspective, is that you need to know crystal clear the elements, the emotional elements of that ride that are going to make the ride work. Because art direction is the art of compromise, and you have no choice. You're going to have to go through the tree chipper of life just to get to the other end of this thing. No, really, it's just going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Now, if you don't know why the ride is good or what has to be in it, then they will pick little pieces apart, and you will go along with it, and you end up with what Marty's called, or the dog's breakfast, where you go, why did we build this? It's really kind of beautiful, but we don't really, why didn't someone stop us? Because all these things got kicked out, all the things got taken out. So you really want to know, A, what has to be there, you fight for that, and like Tom says, you want to make sure what you're proposing can work. It can really endure the test.
You want to find out what's wrong and what's weak in the idea, the weak link, because everything has a strong point and a weak link, and you just try to find the weak links as early as possible and not wait till the last minute.
Make your mistakes.
In the case of the bridge in Walt Disney World, they learned a lot of things that would work here in California because of the weather out there and all sorts of things that just who would know unless you had built a big park out there in Central Florida are just can't be predicted. Is under lessons learned. Coefficients of wheels on surfaces are affected by humidity and different materials, and so what may have worked here. And so there's a little bit of that. Who knew? Under the who knew category. But we're smart enough now to know not to build something that not enough people are going to be able to go through, or things that aren't going to be able to handle the weather anymore, or certain operational things. We have learned quite a bit now with all the parks that we've got.
Well, by the way, there are also ideas that shouldn't be built if the criteria destroys the idea. In other words, if they said, oh, well, you want to make the personal encounter with, the one-on-one with Snow White for 5,000 people an hour. Unless you have 50 Snow Whites and 50 rooms. Well, sometimes these things are deal breakers. And so you have to be strong enough to go, you know what, we probably shouldn't build this. You shouldn't try to do this idea because the criteria will destroy it.
Well, the criteria is a moving target, too, because...
yeah, that's true, too.
If there was a cumulative knowledge that moved along, but so many things are affecting it, the goals of operations, which might shift from higher capacity to more economics of operation. Or maintenance
it's
issues.
All tile. Something will be tile.
And, like I was enthralled that they brought in the Voices of Liberty to Lincoln, because it clearly dings the capacity and does all this, but it makes it probably one of the greatest shows altogether that we've ever done from an Americana standpoint. I just came through that just before coming over here, and I was like, wow, it's just a home run. So I applaud George Kalogridis for realizing I'm reducing the capacity by maybe 3/4, because we went from 4 shows an hour to 1. And yet I'm providing the guests, it was packed, and people stood giving it a standing ovation.
More meaningful.
It's far more meaningful. And so who makes those judgment calls? And it's not a absolute. There was a period of time 10 years ago here where the management had a very obtuse structure to it that caused all of us great frustration, agony. And we had to figure out, okay, given these set of values, how do we continue to produce things that, and it would hurt us because we'd read, reactions of people saying, wow, this is no Indiana Jones, what they've done over here. And yet we were all, kind of forced into well, how do you react to this and still make something presentable? So it's a challenge that I don't think there's ever going to be an answer, but this was just done this summer, this Lincoln thing. And so to me, I wrote a letter right away, because if you criticize when something, you feel is a deal breaker, you've also got to give them a real pat on the back when they make a call like that.
Exactly.
It's really...
Well, look at DCA. Should DCA have been
California
the deal?
Adventure.
Well,
We can't
the
use
entire
that.
park. No, if it's driven by a business model, should that have been a deal breaker thing? Should that have not been done the way it was done? Should there have been more money? Should, hindsight 2020. But the company stepped up and looked at the beautiful additions, which is probably just the beginning, I would guess. I'm a guest, I pay full price, So I thought it was great and enjoyed it. So
that's where Tony needs to get right now.
Yeah. I'm going on Radiator Springs Racers with my fast pass.